It is time now for night courts on the docket against a lawsuit against Whole Foods alleging false advertising. The nonprofit animal rights group Farm Forward and 3 consumer plaintiffs claim that the popular grocery store chain promises that dozens of its beef products contain, quote, no antibiotics ever. You see the ad there. But the plaintiffs say that independent testing found trace amounts in meat that they purchased at Whole Foods. So let's bring in tonight's Legal Eagles. Nothing But the Truth podcast host, attorney Bob Bianchi, and Independent Women's Forum senior legal fellow, attorney May Mailman. Welcome back, guys.
How's it going, Shannon?
Thanks for having us.
Okay, let's go straight to Exhibit A. This is from the lawsuit. It says Farm Forward's product testing revealed that Whole Foods beef products contain pharmaceutical residue. Whole Foods' animal welfare certified label is actually false, they claim, and misleads prospective purchasers in tandem with Whole Foods' no antibiotics ever marketing. To think that the meat comes from antibiotic-free cattle. As a result of this deception, Whole Foods is able to sell more beef products and at higher prices. What say you, May?
Well, we have to remember what Whole Foods' role is here. They're not the ranchers. They're not putting antibiotics in their cattle. They are purchasers. They're the retailer. And to hold retailers responsible every time something does not quite align with advertising is going to bring on a lot of liability and I think ultimately end choices for consumers. So, for example, a lot of us have bought seedless watermelon that turns out to have seeds in it. And if the grocery store was sued every single time that happened, then they would no longer really be able to say that something is seedless, even though usually it is. And then consumers, all they get is watermelon, and they're unable to pick what they want. So liability should really only happen when the vast majority of products doesn't align with what's said. And here, even though the plaintiffs spent $80,000 testing Whole Foods meat, they could only find 2 examples of where there were antibiotics. So I think Whole Foods is actually doing a really good job.
That's a whole lot of meat that you're testing. I don't know, maybe the testing cost, join into that $80,000. It's a lot of money, but that's what the plaintiffs say that they found. By the way, Whole Foods, we haven't found them, and they didn't respond to us, any comment from them yet. This thing has just been filed. But Exhibit B comes from their website, their statement about who they are. They say, we seek out the finest natural and organic foods available, maintain the strictest quality standards in the industry, and have an unshakable commitment to sustainable agriculture. That's our Exhibit B. So, Bob, what about that? Listen, if something slipped through with one of their farmers or their vendors, is Whole Food responsible?
Yeah, they are, and the complaint is like very specific here. It's not as if they just kind of like did a got you. There's actually 1 in 5 in some studies that they're saying where they found either antibiotics and or anti-parasitic medicine in the product. So if you're to believe the factual allegations in the complaint, and they're just allegations right now, not only did they find these things in significant quantities, they actually alerted Whole Foods about it and are arguing that they did absolutely nothing about it. With respect to the idea about the retailers, the fact of the matter is you're responsible for those people that you have as retailers, especially when, look, we all go to Whole Foods for healthy food. We don't want antibiotics. We don't want anti-parasites. It's essentially saying the animals are not being raised properly. They're being raised in unsanitary conditions. And it also creates bacteria resistance. So if you get sick, the medicine that they give you at the doctor's office is not likely to work as well. So I think it's a problem for them, at least if you believe the allegations in this. They knew about it and did nothing about it.
So Exhibit C is another part of the claim and about the fact that consumers will spend more if they think they're paying for something like this. Miss Safari is one of the plaintiffs, purchased the beef products at a premium price because based on Whole Foods representations, she believed all Whole Foods beef products derived from cattle raised without antibiotics or pharmaceuticals. She said that's an important choice to her and May, that consumers are going to pay more if they think that they're getting something that's at an elevated level of purity.
Well, consumers are about to pay a lot more because what the plaintiffs want, besides millions of dollars, is basically for Whole Foods to do all of the testing themselves rather than rely on these third-party organizations that, give their stamp of approval. And so if Whole Foods is going rancher by rancher, package of beef by package of beef, that is going to be incredibly expensive for consumers.
Let me get Bob in here for a quick final word.
Yeah, they're not going to have to go package by package. And what they're going to do is if, in fact, those ranchers aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, then they can bring them into this lawsuit and say they're the ones that are responsible for it. So Whole Foods has an answer, but that doesn't address this point. They knew about it according to the complaint and did nothing about it.
All right. Well, we will see if Whole Foods responds to us or any of the other media outlets seeking requests for information on this lawsuit, and we'll track it. In the meantime, Bob, it is great to see you. And May, thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
All right. Some good news before.